No, 644. Whose phone is that? Ali's phone? You can go on. It's better if you go on the other one, other app. Sorry about this. Bhagavatam? Okay. Purvabhyasena tenaiva hriyate hi avasyo pi saha jignashu. ब्रह्मातिवर्तते पूर्वाभ्यासेन तेनैव ह्रियते हि अवश्योऽपि सः जिज्ञासुरपि योगस्य शब्दब्रह्मातिवर्तते पूर्वाभ्यासेन तेनैव ह्रियते हि अवश्योऽपि सः जिज्ञासुरपि योगस्य शब्दब्रह्मातिवर्तते पूर्वाभ्यासेन तेनैव ह्रियते हि अवश्योऽपि सः जिज्ञासुरपि योगस्य शब्दब्रह्मातिवर्तते पूर्वाभ्यासेन तेनैव ह्रियते हि अवश्योऽपि सः जिज्ञासुरपि योगस्य शब्दब्रह्मातिवर्तते तेनैव All right, we'll just go on. Purva, previous. Abhyasena, by practice. Tena, by that. Eva, certainly. Hriyate, is attracted. He, surely. Avashaha, automatically. Api, also. Saha, he, jigyasuhu, inquisitive, api, even, yogasya, about yoga, shabda brahma, ritualistic principles of scriptures, ativartate, transcends. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. By virtue of divine consciousness of his previous life, he automatically becomes attracted to the yogic principles, even without seeking them. Such an inquisitive transcendentalist stands always above the ritualistic principles of the scriptures. Purport. Advanced yogis are not very much attracted to the rituals of scriptures, but they automatically become attracted to the yoga principles, which can elevate them to complete Krishna consciousness, the highest yoga perfection. In the Srimad Bhagavatam, such disregard of Vedic rituals by the advancing of transcendentalists is explained as follows. Aho bata swapacho to griyan yaj jivagre vartate nam tubhyam te pustapaste juhubhu sashnur arya Brahmanucho nama grananti yete. O my Lord, persons who chant the holy names of your Lordship are far, far advanced in spiritual life, even if born in a family of dog eaters. Such chanters have undoubtedly performed all kinds of austerities and sacrifices, bathed in all sacred places, and finished all scriptural studies. The famous example, this was presented by Lord Chaitanya, who accepted Thakur Haridas as one of the most important disciples. Although Thakur Haridas happened to be his birth in a Muslim family, take his birth in a Muslim family, he was elevated to the post of Nama Acarya by Lord Chaitanya due to his rigid attended principle of chanting 300,000 holy names of Lord daily. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And because he chanted the holy name of the Lord constantly, it is understood that in his previous life he must have passed through all the ritualistic methods of the Vedas, known as Shabda Brahma. Unless, therefore, one is purified, one cannot take to the principles of Krishna consciousness or become engaged in chanting the holy name of the Lord, Hare Krishna. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shigrive Namah Shri Chaitanya Manovishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupakadamayam Dadati Swapatantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shitapatikamanam Shri Gurun Vaishnavangsha Shri Rupam Sagrachatam Sahagana Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savaditam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Khanta Namustade तप्त कांचन गौरंगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिय वाञ्छकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यश्च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति विकास स्वामिनिति नमने नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनिति नमने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद ज्ञानानंदमयं देवं निर्मलस्फटिकाकृतिम् आधारं सर्वविद्यानां हायग्रीवमुपस्महे गुरु वैष्णव भगवान तिनेर स्मरण है विघ्न विनाशन अनायासे है निज वांछित पूर्ण हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. So continuing the discussion of the transcendental Bhagavad Gita in the chapter of Dhyana Yoga, the yoga of concentration, the yoga of meditation. So here, the last couple of texts we've been going through the progress of the yogi, the fall of the yogi, and the reinstatement, or the yogi becoming reinstated in his position as a yogi in his current life or in his future life. So Krishna is describing the principles of a yogi who has fallen from his position, what principles that will follow as a result of that, and where he'll end up. Is this too loud? It still feels like it's really loud. Yeah, you can turn it down a little bit. We're not in India. In India, they just blast it all the way. That's it. That's the only volume is max volume for some reason. When you go there, you can experience it. Everything is loud. Everything is, you've got to wear earplugs all the time. Okay, that's better. Okay. So, the yogi who is fallen from the path, after long practice in this particular case, is again born into this world. Here Krishna starts to describe, previously he described how he attained such a good birth, but in his next life, in this life that he takes, he becomes automatically attracted to the yogic principles. So, advanced yogis are not very much attracted to the rituals of scriptures, but they automatically become attracted to the yoga principles, which can elevate them to complete Krishna consciousness. So, a person who's born within you could say here, Krishna mentions the family of transcendentalists, he is naturally attracted to the philosophy of Krishna consciousness, the practice of Krishna consciousness. Now, the rituals of Vedic culture, the rituals of scripture are generally like yajnas, different performances of sacrifices that may award different assets to oneself. One may do sacrifices for wealth. One may do sacrifices for good home, good family, good future, good study, such and such and such. This is a part of Vedic culture where one approaches some demigod, just like when we were little, we were told to pray to Goddess Saraswati, for the goddess of learning, in order to pass our exams and in order to get through school. So we would do such a thing because it's a part of the rituals of scriptures, and there will be different things that you do. You go to the temples, you offer certain food stuff to the deity there, and ask for blessings, and so such rituals are performed in Vedic culture. Or different sacrifices may be done, just like one takes upon the Upanayanam when he turns 12. Generally, they shave the boy's head and then give him Brahman thread and initiate them into the second birth, Dvija. But a yogi, a person, of course, these are also there in Krishna consciousness outside of the deity worship. Some of these things are there outside of the demigod worship. So the yogi, however, who is on the platform of advanced platform, when he is born into this world, he is immediately attracted to the essence of Krishna consciousness. Just like Bharat Maharaj, when he was born as Jad Bharata, he was very intelligent. He was the topmost intelligent person that was born within the planet, but he immediately took up on a dumb position because he understood that he was born as a son of a king, and if he took up on a very prestigious position and he accepted that, he would have to take up responsibilities in this life for which it could distract him from his practice of Krishna consciousness. So instead of undergoing the standard scripture rules that a son undergoes in the line of a Kshatriya, where he gets trained under the father and then comes up and then takes over the kingdom, he disregarded all these things and completely pretended like he was a dummy. When his father would teach him to bathe, he said, okay, you have to pass stool and then bathe. But he would bathe and then pass stool. Then you can become contaminated in this way. So generally in Vedic culture, cleanliness is a big thing. So you have to bathe after you pass through. But Jad Bharat, even after he was told, he would bathe and then he would pass through. His father would teach him to bathe in different ways, and he would do it completely wrong. He would muchi himself. He would contaminate himself all the time. He would just do everything that his father taught him the wrong way, and he did it on purpose. Why? Because when he was born, he remembered all of his past lives and was immediately attracted to the pure principles of Krishna consciousness, which means to come to the level of realizing that one is a servant of Krishna. In this case, the transcendentalist, the following yogi, after long practice, he's actually already realized that to a great extent, but he now has to practice it and perfect himself. Realize means he knows it. Realize, the full realization is not there, but he knows what the principles are. He has realization that everything else is not to be done. The only thing to be done is to become Krishna conscious. So Jad Bharata is a great example of a yogi who, after a long practice, fell from his practice as Bharat Maharaj, took up on the position of a deer, and then was again born in the royal kingdom of a transcendentalist. And in that way, when he came to that position, he completely gave up all occupations. Sarva dharman parityaja mamekam sharanam vraja. Krishna says like that. You give up all occupations of your duty and surrender unto me. So Jad Bharata was in that state of consciousness. So in the Srimad Bhagavatam, such disregard of Vedic rituals by the advanced transcendentalists is explained as follows. O my Lord, persons who chant the holy names of your Lordship are far advanced in spiritual life, even if born in families of dog eaters. Such chanters have undoubtedly performed all kinds of austerities and sacrifices, bathed in all sacred places, and finished all scriptural studies. Does this mean that we have done all of these things? Does it mean that we, in our past lives, bathed in all of the holy places and visited all the sacred rivers and finished all scripture studies? That because we're chanting the holy name of the Lord? Could be. Bhagavatam says like that. But it is also giving that qualification. When one it's giving the measure, you can't measure the holy name of the Lord, but it's giving the power of the holy name of the Lord, how powerful it is. These are all of the qualifications that are required in order to come to some level of understanding of transcendence. But it's obvious in our life. Krishna says, Tesham satatayuktanam, yesham tvantagatam papam, janana punya karmanam, te dvanda mohan nirmukta, bhajante mam dridha vrtaha. That the position of a yogi, one who's fixed in devotional service, you can bring this up, yesha tvantagatam papam, I think it's 7th chapter, I can't remember. Yesam, just Y-E-S-A-M, Yesham. Yesham tvanta gatam papam. One who is free from sin in this life and the life before. One who is pious in this life and the life before. One who is free from dupliciousness. Yeah, go into that. 728. Okay. Okay, yeah, it's okay. I got it here. I'll read it out. Persons who have acted piously in previous lives and in this life, whose sinful actions are completely eradicated, are freed from dualities of delusion, and they engage themselves in my service with determination. So, persons who have acted with piety in their previous life and in this life, and whose sinful actions are completely eradicated, are freed from dualities of delusion. And they engage in Krishna consciousness with serious determination. Dhrida vrtaha. This means determination. Tivrena bhakti yogena, with intensity. But we can see in our life, neither do we have intensity of devotional service, neither do we have a pious birth, neither did we commit no sin in this life, or any pious activities within this life. Before coming to Krishna consciousness, we can call it piety. Yes, I fed some homeless people, but that's actually impiety, because the homeless guy went and spent it on some drugs or something, or we gave him some meat to eat. Or our idea of piety itself is so degraded. It's a complete false conception of piety. But how is it that we're chanting Hare Krishna? How is it that we come to the platform of sitting in the temple with devotees and chanting the holy name of the Lord, when it's clear, it says that he has undoubtedly performed all kinds of austerities and sacrifices, bathed in all his sacred places, and finished all scriptural studies. When we haven't done such things, it's clear. By our karma, it's clear. We're born in such a civilization. It's clear that we're born in such, our families that we're born in, as Arjuna defines it, he says, we are Papa Yoni. You know what this means? Papa Yoni? No? Anybody know what is it? Yeah. Papa Yoni means one who is born from sin. It's actually a useless civilization. He's just born straight out of sin for desire. Born from a bottle of whiskey on Saturday night. Basically. Most of us are like that. So, we are defined in the Bhagavad Gita as more or less Papa Yoni. One who is born in a degraded civilization. One who is born in a sinful civilization, out of sinful father, sinful mother, such and such and such. Including myself. I'm not putting myself out of here. I know that I am. I know I've heard. So what gives us the qualification? What is the qualification? We haven't done any of these practices. I doubt, who's been to India? You've been to India? Okay. Nobody else. And Kalki Prabhu, of course. But before coming to Krishna consciousness, what is the even sense of even seeing a holy place or a river? Or even scripture. The standard of scripture in the Western world wouldn't be even considered basic human knowledge in Vedic culture. So, what austerities and sacrifices have we performed? Nothing. Just lived our life, just enjoying. On the platform of enjoyment. So what gave us this qualification to chant the holy name of the Lord? What is it that has elevated us, to which so many yogis want to come to the platform of? Where the yogis, how does this start? Pantashtakoti vatsara sampragamyo vayo ratapi manaso muni pungavanam. Even at the speed of the mind, the yogis cannot even conceive of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They can't even come to the platform of being able to come in touch with the effulgence that's coming out of the toenail of Krishna. The yogis, the great yogis who've undergone thousands of years of austerities cannot even come to this position. But what is it that has brought us to the position of being able to see Krishna face to face? Being able to conceive of the pastimes of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Being able to see the beautiful form of the Lord. What is it? What is it? What is it? What is it? Is it us? I don't think so. It's pretty clear. It's pretty clear that is not our position. It's pretty clear we're fallen. We can see that. So what is that? What is that? That, as Srila Prabhupada says, Krishna later in the Bhagavad Gita says, those who preach this message to the devotees, they are very, very dear to me. And Prabhupada says, the devotees of the Lord are more merciful than the Lord himself. They go out and they reclaim the fallen conditioned souls for the pleasure of the Lord. We have no qualification to chant Hare Krishna. Nothing at all. Therefore, Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Prashtabhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Nityanamane. I first offer my respective obeisances unto Bhakti Vedanta Swami, who has crossed this ocean to the land of impersonalism and voidism, to preach the message of Gauravani. We have no qualification. But he is our qualification. Srila Prabhupada said, I have created your good fortune. I have created that. You have no good fortune. You have nothing. You're all malechas. We're all malechas. But we have no good fortune, but the spiritual master comes. Brahmande Brahmite Kona Bhagyavan Jiva Guru Krishna Prasade Paya Bhakti Lata Bija. By the grace of the Supreme Personality Godhead, the spiritual master becomes present in our lives. And by the grace of that spiritual master, by that mercy of the spiritual master, we are able to come to the platform of devotional service, nothing else. And Chaitanya Charitamrita defines like that. How does this verse start? Madhya Leela, I can't remember. It's the, Krishna, I can't. Bhakti, Krishna Bhakti Mula Hai, Krishna, can you search Krishna Bhakti Mula? You can search that or no? You got it? Yeah, Krishna Bhakti Janma Mula Hai Sadhu Sangha, Krishna Preme Janma Tenho Punya Mukha Anga. Go down. The root cause of devotional service to Lord Krishna is association with advanced devotees. Even when one's dormant love for Krishna awakens, association with devotees is still most essential. So we can think, okay, maybe I did something so great in my past life to deserve this. But it's clear by the Chaitanya Charitamrita, by Srimad Bhagavatam, by the Bhagavad Gita itself, what our real position is in this material world. What our real position is of just a fallen, not a yogi, just the straight up lowest of the lows, like bottom. We are at the bottom of the barrel, Kali Yuga rejects. That's our position. At least if you think we're not in that position, then you must be greater than Bhaktivinoda Thakur, because Bhaktivinoda Thakur, who is on the platform of a great, very intimate associate of Krishna and Radharani, feels like he is. Narottam Das Thakur, who is the associate of Lord Chaitanya, who has direct vision of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, he thinks he is. Obviously they're not. It's obvious by their pastimes, by their activities, the way they're born, the way they act out their life, how determined their devotional service was. But then we can take it and go, yes, no, I did it. I am so great, yes. But none of our acharyas ever felt like that. You don't see that in our acharyas who are on that platform. But the falsely puffed up, conditioned soul, thinking himself to be great, again, falls under this trap of false ego and thinks himself the doer. Kartaham iti manyate, I am the doer. I am the cause of my devotional service. Nonsense talk. Srila Prabhupada, the spiritual master, the devotees of the Lord are the cause, the only cause of our devotional service. There's no other cause. There's no other cause. It's the mercy of the devotee. There's nothing else. There's nothing else but mercy in our life. We have no other position than that. One who is very fallen, one who's stuck in a very dark well, under kupam. We have fallen, following the blind in this society. We have fallen in a deep, dark well in where we've been screaming lifetime after lifetime, where nobody's come to help us. Nobody's come to help us. Who will hear you in the dark well of material existence? Nobody will hear you. So you're screaming for help in this material world. That's the position of all the materialists. Help. Internally, they're like this. Externally, yes, everything is wonderful. Ignorance is bliss. But the living entity, misidentifying with himself, he is suffering. He doesn't know what is his next position. He does not know. How can one be happy when there is no next position? One does not know what his next position is. He does not know what he's going to do in the next year, next 2 years, next 10 years. What are you going to do after death? If you do not know this, how can you be happy? When the mind is not fixed on the eternal goal of life, it is very fragile. It is useless. It is completely bewildered. And on that platform of the mind being disturbed all the time due to not understanding the constitutional position, there is no question of peace. Krishna says like this in the Bhagavad Gita. And what is the question of happiness without peace? Krishna says. So the living entity's position is in this muck of material existence. We're the lowest of the lowest, Kali Yuga rejects. We're in the worst of the ages, where people are unintelligent, misguided, unlucky, short-lived, and above all, always disturbed. This is our position. Please understand our position. Please understand our position. If we understood our position, we would take up Krishna consciousness very seriously. We would take it up. Understand, it has to be done right now, not tomorrow, not in 5 years, not in 10 years, maybe. Right now is the position to inquire and practice Krishna consciousness. We will understand. That is, pure devotee understands that. Therefore he does not waste time. That is a symptom of a pure devotee. Because he understands that time is taking away everything. So I must become Krishna conscious within this life. I must become Krishna conscious. There's no other option. He understands his position. He understands his fragile position in this life. He understands the importance of this human life. That he's been given by this human form of life. He's achieved it somehow or other after 8.4 million species of lives. And now I'm going to simply waste it, eating, sleeping, mating, and defending, and that struggle for that existence. I'm going to waste it like that. We're thinking like that. Oh yes, I have such a good position. Oh yes, I have such a nice job. Oh yes, I have such a nice this, nice that. I don't need Krishna consciousness. But who will protect all of these things at the time of death? In your next life, what will you do? So when one starts to understand that, he becomes serious in Krishna consciousness. When one is ignorant of that and thinks himself to be very great, then he takes upon so many different positions, so many different designations, so many different identities, and completely convinces himself that he is such a great. Just like the hog in stool thinks he's in such a good position. In India, if you ever go, you'll see many hogs sleeping in stool, enjoying life. Wow, amazing. The hog is thinking, yes, I'm such a great hog. Look at my life. I'm enjoying so nicely. But he is in stool. So if we understood our position, if we understood our real position as fallen Kali Yuga rejects, if we understood that and we took the mercy, Srila Prabhupada writes in one place that there is no, what is this word? Deficiency of mercy. Just like when the sun is out, sunlight is available. But if one chooses to remain in the shadow, he will not get it. One simply has to step out of darkness and into light. That is it. That is it. One simply has to follow the instructions of the Acharya. One simply has to accept the mercy readily if he wants to advance in Krishna consciousness. So, whether one is born in a family of dog eaters, whether one is born in the Kali Yuga, in the family, in the society of sinful activities, this does not matter. Luckily for us, none of these things matter. If it wasn't for the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, yes, it would matter. We'd have to. How would we even come to this position? I don't know. It would not be possible. But because of Srila Prabhupada, it does not matter whether one is a dog eater or whether one is born in the family of a Brahmana. This does not make a single difference. Why? Because Srila Prabhupada, what did he do? He gave us the chanting of the holy name of the Lord. He gave it to us. So because of that mercy that is showered down upon us by the Acharya, we are considered, we've done all of these activities already. Pre-qualified, okay, done. Go on, go ahead. Just like sometimes the president can give someone who is not so, maybe doesn't have all of the qualifications, you can say, I can just bypass. Okay, come on, let's go. This is the mercy mission, Srila Prabhupada. Mercy mission. Okay, right. You've already, by hearing from Srila Prabhupada, we've bathed in all the holy places. We've performed all the rituals. We've finished all scripture study just by hearing one word from Srila Prabhupada. Prabhupada says like that even one word within his books can give full realization of Krishna. What to speak of a sentence, what to speak of a whole book. He says one word, one line, one word. That is the power of the Acharya. We do not understand. We're not ready. We're not willing to accept that mercy. We're so stubborn. We're so stubborn to our stool-like enjoyment in this material world. We're so stubborn. Just like when you pull, if you've ever, I've never done it, but I guess I've seen people do it, or you see a worm in stool, you pull it out and you put it away from the stool. Put it a little distant away from the stool. It will run straight back into the stool. That is our position. So it does not, but luckily for us, it does not matter whether we're worms born in stool or whether we're dog eaters, whether we're born in a family of Brahmanas, such and such and such. By the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, by the mercy of the grace, of His divine grace, we've been able to come to this position of trying to understand Krishna consciousness, of being able to chant the holy names, associate with devotees, perform devotional service to Krishna, be able to offer food to Krishna, to be able to cook for Krishna, to be able to sing for Krishna, to be able to dance for Krishna, to partake in taking Krishna prasadam. All of these things would not be available. They are not available. They were not available in the Western world. They were not even available. Most likely, even if you went to India, they wouldn't have been available. So much nonsense is there also. The Gaudiya Vaishnava tradition was there, but it was mostly hidden. It'd be very hard to come across it actually. When Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur was there, yes, it was very prominent. But before him, it was hidden. And then after him, for some time, it was also, the mission was dammed up a little bit. It was halted. But Srila Prabhupada has put us in such a position, wherever you go, whatever city you go to, whatever country you go to, whatever the continent you go to, there's devotees, there's devotional service, there's Srimad Bhagavatam, there's chanting of the holy names of the Lord going on in every part of the world. Who else could have done this but the great Acharya? We do not understand his greatness. We do not understand his power, his ability to turn such malechas like us into Brahmanas and Vaishnavas. We cannot understand. We cannot understand the mercy that is flowing. This is not some ordinary thing. This is flow of mercy, of coming straight from Krishna, 5,000 years old, older than that, establishing Bhagavad Gita 5,000 years ago. Very, very, just like a child, handled very carefully by the great acharyas, passing it down from one teacher to another, one teacher to another, one teacher to another, down to our own teacher, and then to us. So we have to understand the mercy that is being granted by the great devotees of the Lord. They're more merciful than the Lord. Therefore, their service is primary for us, not the service of the Lord so much. As Prahlad Maharaj prays like this, that my dear Lord Nrsimhadev, you have come before me, but actually my first, what is the words he used? My first thing that I must do is serve my spiritual master. My first thing is, I cannot serve you yet. I have to serve my spiritual master. That is my first thing. That is my most important occupation. The service to my spiritual master is my most important occupation. Why? Because without the spiritual master, there is no service to Krishna. Why? Because the spiritual master engages the disciple in Krishna consciousness. We do not engage in Krishna consciousness. Spiritual master engages us. Therefore, one must take a spiritual master. We cannot engage ourselves in Krishna consciousness. We do not know how. The spiritual master engages us. Under the guidance of the spiritual master, the practitioner makes advancement. Without spiritual master, forget it. Without a spiritual master, forget it. We ain't going nowhere. So the transcendentalist, he is naturally attracted to all of this. He is naturally understanding all of these principles. For us, it takes a few hammerings on the head and a few lifetimes sometimes. But the transcendentalist, when he takes upon the birth in a family of Vaishnavas, he understands all of these principles. He's not attracted by the outwardly external sacrifices and all of these of the Vedas, of the scriptures. He's attracted to the essence, the Srimad Bhagavatam, the essence of everything. So he takes upon that practice with seriousness. You can see that in some devotees. You can see that they were born and their life is made of just pure focus in Krishna consciousness. You can see that in some Vaishnavas. You can tell, oh, this is what Krishna is speaking about in the Bhagavad Gita. It is a science. It is not just some mythology that is being preached. It's coming directly from Krishna. So when one has chanted the holy name of the Lord constantly, when one is able to do that, and because he chanted the holy name of the Lord constantly, it is understood that in his previous life he must have passed through all the ritualistic methods of the Vedas. In this case, Haridas Thakur was Brahma. Lord Brahma is Haridas Thakur. Unless, therefore, one is purified, one cannot take to the principles of Krishna consciousness or become engaged in chanting the holy name of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Prabhupada says it. So this purification must take place. How does this purification take place? This takes place by hearing from the Acharya, by hearing from the devotees, by hearing from those who are purified men, who are thoroughly honest, Purified men who are thoroughly honest. What does it do? How does this start? And the influence of Rajas and Tamas are taken away. In the Rajas Tamas. Anyways, second chapter. I have another verse, but I'm forgetting. So once this passion and ignorance is wiped away by hearing Krishna consciousness, Cheto Darpana Marjanam, why am I forgetting this? Bhava Mahadavagni Nirvapanam, Shreya Kairava Chandrika Vitaranam Vidya Vadu Jivanam, Anandam Buddhi Vardhanam, Pratipadam Purnamrita Swadanam, Sarvata Snapanam Param Vijate Shri Krishna Sankirtanam. By chanting the holy name of the Lord, the dirt that is within the heart is cleansed away. It is a life about transcendental knowledge. It shines, makes the practitioner see his real position as a servant of the Lord. How is it done? In a humble state of mind. It is done in a humble state of mind, thinking oneself lower than the tree, lower than the straw on the street, lower than a blade of grass, more tolerant than a tree. And giving all respect, not expecting anything for himself. He can chant the holy name of the Lord constantly. So these are all required in Krishna consciousness. So one has to take up on Krishna consciousness with seriousness, hearing from a bona fide spiritual master. That will grant us that mercy. Hearing, listening, Tat Shrinu. Now hear, O Arjuna, I am revealing you the most essential, most confidential knowledge by which you will become free from all designations here. Now hear, O son of Pratha, how by practicing yoga in full consciousness of me, with mind attached to me, you can know me in full, free from doubt. As Krishna says here, it ends that. In that he says, Tat Shrinu. Just hear. Just listen. Don't just, put it through one ear and put it out the other. Hear, actually understand. Therefore he asks at the end of Bhagavad Gita, did you understand? Did you hear? Did you listen? Did you actually understand what I'm talking about? If not, I'll explain it to you again. So listen and assimilate it. Realize it. Think about it. Deeply contemplate upon it. Don't just let it go in one ear and out the other. Deeply understand these principles that I have spoken to you. And that Krishna is speaking that to us also. We're in the position of Arjuna. Arjuna is taking upon our position. He doesn't need all this. He's a fully self-realized devotee of the Lord. He's Krishna Sakha. He's the friend of Krishna. He's not an illusion. We're an illusion. So that is our position. So Krishna is instructing us, listen, hear, come to this platform of devotional service. So by practicing devotional service, according to the rules and regulations given by the Acharyas, accepting that mercy, not taking upon one's own process, not depending upon one's own knowledge, taking the knowledge from those men who are on the platform of transcendence, who are above the four defects, we can overcome material. We can cross over this material ocean and come to the platform of full Krishna consciousness. And then at that state, it becomes our position to do that for others. As my spiritual master has been describing in so many lectures that he's giving. We get the mercy, and then we give the mercy. This is Krishna consciousness. So one comes up by this, and one is guaranteed perfection. And if it's not, as Krishna is speaking here, if there is no perfection, or if perfection is not achieved completely within this life, nothing is to be. There is no loss or diminution on this path. He continues in his next life. So it's a process. Krishna consciousness is a very beautiful process where nothing to lose, everything to gain. Don't delay, do it today. Chant the holy name of the Lord. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. 16 rounds a day. Very easy. Actually, it's all our mind. 16 rounds is not very hard, actually. I've seen so many people, including myself and so many other devotees, We think we can't do it. We think we can. How will I do it? Whatever. We were attending university, some whatever so-called difficult course, and doing so many things. But when some level of determination came about in devotion service, all of a sudden you had so much time to be able to chant, to be able to finish those 16 rounds. Even if you didn't have time, you'd chant them because you understood the principles. I've seen so many devotees that have attended universities, and previously in the beginning they're like, there's no way I can do this, but they take it up, and then it's like, you can see how by centering our life around Krishna, all of these things become possible. When we take the mercy, it's possible. There's no reason why we can't chant 16 rounds, follow the 4 principles, and eat only prasadam. All facilities are there. This facility is here for people to come. Come every morning. Come for Mangala Arati at 4 a.m. in the morning, 4:30 in the morning. There's no way that you will not chant 16 rounds. You come. And then there's breakfast. You don't have to worry about anything else. There's a roof over your head. The food will be provided. The devotees are there to associate with. The music is there. The lectures are there. Knowledge is there. What is missing? There's nothing missing. The only thing missing is our determination. Everything is there. Prabhupada has provided everything for us. He's provided us a house where the whole world can live in. Vasudeva Kutumbakam. So there is no shortage. The only lacking is our own. That must be understood. There's no lacking in the philosophy. There's no lacking in the mercy. There's no lacking in the chanting the holy name of the Lord. The only lacking that we have is our own ability to accept Krishna consciousness. If we do this, then we will put ourselves in a great position. We'll do good for ourselves, and we'll do very good to others. So let's keep all of these things in mind. Let's undergo the practice of Krishna consciousness for the rest of our lives. We can make that vow and pray to the Lord that He can fulfill that we can serve Him for the rest of our lives. Full service, nothing else. We don't want to do anything else with our lives. There's nothing else to be done. Everything else is, we don't want to engage in this ugra karma society of just nasty materialists. You just live amongst devotees and preach to those who are willing to learn. Just stay engaged full time in Krishna consciousness. At the end of life, antakale smaram eva, and remember Krishna, because all our activities have been centered around Krishna. And even if we cannot remember at the time Krishna at the time of death, Krishna will remember us. Lord Chaitanya, if we've engaged in the Sankirtan movement nicely, He will personally come and take us back home, back to Godhead. That is guaranteed. Om Krito Smara Kritam Smara. Please remember what I have done for you, O my Lord. At the time of death, Vayor Anilam Amritam Atedam Bhasmantam Sariram. Om Krito Smara Kritam Smara Kritam Smara Krito Smara Kritam Smara. So we can expect the mercy when we engage in the service of the spiritual master nicely. Okay, I'll end the class over there. Please feel free to ask any questions or comments. Okay, yes, okay, Prabhu.
Just one small correction. Hare Krishna. But anyways, Jada Bhart's last birth, he was born in the family of Brahmanas. So.
He was.
You said Kshatriyas first.
Oh, he wasn't going to take up on the kingdom, I thought?
No, he was born in a Brahmin family, and his father was like instructing him. That was my understanding.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But I could double check, but that's what.
I thought, okay. Maybe I'm getting it
like,
confused.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry about that.
That's
okay.
right.
Anything else?
You're speaking about the importance of determination and the urgency of human life. Curious, if you have any advice for how to cultivate that urgency internally instead of relying on hearing it in lectures or whatever, reading about it, just reminding yourself, I guess you wake up in the morning and think about it, but you seem to have that internally a lot, and I don't have it so much. So
How to cultivate that urgency
of taking it up and taking it
seriously.
Believe
me, I don't have that. I really don't have that. I'm speaking the principles of Krishna consciousness. But how to take that up, one has to like at least Bhakti Vikas Maharaj, he mentions like this, that when one reads, he shouldn't just read, he should contemplate. And with that contemplation of Krishna consciousness that is going on constantly, that urgency or that understanding of performance of Krishna consciousness should come about. So urgency comes about by when we come in knowledge, like, oh, I have to become Krishna conscious. Why? Oh, this, even like now, why have we taken up full-time Krishna consciousness? Because there's understanding of urgency to some level. But then we may come into devotional service, and then there may be some, okay, now I'm here, and then you get a little relaxed about life in general, because you stop suffering so much in the material world when you take up devotional service. And the pangs of material nature no longer act upon us so deeply because we have stopped engaging in material activities more or less. So you can become very relaxed. But if one is intelligent and studies and hears from the spiritual master with attention, then he can realize that, okay, there's still a long way to go. So it just requires proper hearing. This requires us. And then engaging and then seeing advancement and then intensifying that. So we have to push ourselves to intensify. We can't just expect it to come. That's one thing. We can't just expect it, we just have to be in intensity. We have to be an intense person in Krishna consciousness with proper method, of course, with proper guidance, not that we burn out, but that intensity should be there in our consciousness. That, okay, I have to stay on top of things. I can't just like here right now. It's more or less we could, you, me, and a few of us could have a big holiday. Like nobody's here. There's not much cleaning to. It's just little cleaning to do. Bhakti Mason's here to do all the cleaning. We could just sleep all day, watch a few movies, and chill out and talk and just have a good time. But there's a level of feeling, we have to, at least the service we're in, we have to make devotees, we have to do something, we have to push forward. What are we going to do? There's a lot of thinking and a lot of thought going into that and then acting upon that. So it just requires us to be on top of things. We've often mentioned Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur would always would want his disciples to be in debt so that they push themselves. So it's just we have to push ourselves. The mercy is there, but then we have to push. We have to push you've got the phone there, or somebody's on the phone? Okay. So we have to push ourselves to bring ourselves to the platform of determination, being determined.
All right, Hare Krishna.
Yeah,
Put the live off.
The live off.
yeah, okay.
So we have to push ourselves. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
So yeah, Pranam, one point, of course, is that, that if we are listening to something, for example, some people listen to lectures of some so-called devotees, but their attraction to hear from Prabhupada doesn't come about. The attraction to read Prabhupada's book doesn't come about. So that's not the hearing that the Bhagavatam speaks about. We see that Bhagavatam Tashratta Dhana Munayo Jnana Vairagyutaya Pashyanti Atmani Chatmanam Bhaktya Shruta Grihitaya. It's not Bhaktya Shruta Grihitaya. It's not cultivating positive samskaras for devotional service. It actually can be compared to milk touched by the lips of a serpent. Does that make sense?
Sorry, I'm a little confused.
What do you say?
I'm a little confused. What is it?
Huh?
He's just saying that that if we're hearing from proper devotees, then we should have attraction for reading Prabhupada's books. And that we're not trying to obtain pious devotional samskaras.
Mm.
And the verse you were thinking about is Rajas Tamas, Tada Rajas Samo Bhava
Yeah.
Kama Lobha Deshe Chete Tiranavattam Siddham
Yeah.
Satve Prasidati.
I was getting it confused. Rajastama Gunehera Sabaya Achana. Srila Prabhupada says this in his poem, so that just kept going to my mind, and I couldn't think of the other one.
Yes, Sada Rajas Samo Bhava, that's the verse you're thinking
Yeah.
of in the second chapter. And I had a question.
Yes, bro.
So, I've, looked through this a little bit, but, where did you get that Haridas Thakur was Lord Brahma?
That's
Because sometimes I read that, he's Prahlad Maharaj.
I mean, I've heard that before
Yeah,
from
I've
Srila
heard
Prabhupada.
it too. I've heard,
Yeah.
it's like Brahma's offense, because it was Brahma's offense of stealing the cowherd boys, Krishna, like.
I never
made
heard.
him-
I never heard.
I've never
that,
heard the offense
but,
one.
I mean, I've read that for sure from Srila Prabhupada. I could try to find it.
Yeah, because I don't know, like, I trust that thing, but I was thinking if you just had a reference for that or something, because I've heard it too. I've heard that he's Brahma. I've heard that sometimes he's Prahlad Maharaj, so.
Yeah, I've heard that also. So that he's Prahlad Maharaj also. Maybe you just have to look into it. I've definitely heard the Brahma
And
thing.
sometimes I heard that he's both personalities at the same time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've heard that a few times. I just like it's one of those things where
I was just going to say I've heard it.
Yeah.
Like, if you
It's-
had a reference,
it's-
it'd be good for me to know.
yeah.
That's.
I'll see if I can do a search and find it.
Yeah. I mean, of course, I'm not challenging you or anything like that. I've heard it before.
Yeah.
I'm just curious, like, where that's found.
Yeah, I guess we haven't really looked exactly where that's.
And also, it's good to know you guys are not watching movies when they're gone.
We're making movies. We're making
Yeah,
movies.
Okay, you guys are directing and producing movies. That's
Exactly.
Good.
We don't watch them, we
All
make
right.
them. Thank you, Prabhu.
Yeah, very good. Very good. All right. Hare Krishna.
Okay, yeah. Okay, is there anything else? Any other question? Okay, yes, Mataji.
Hi, Krishna.
Yes, Mataji.
I have two questions. So, again, you were speaking on how important it is of hearing and chanting and actually getting that full aspect of Krishna consciousness. I had a question regarding chanting. Say, for instance, for us who, I can only speak for myself, of course. Like when I first came in, I was just chanting because everybody else was chanting. I had absolutely no idea the potency of the holy names. But even now that I'm continuously chanting and doing, getting my 16 rounds in, I struggle with finding, like the. I mean, I hear all the time that we chant all the time, and I hear all the time how important it is and the potency of actually chanting. But and I know that it's as actually a cry to the Lord that you were speaking about. We're crying out for help, and we need help in this material world. So why does it sometimes feel like chanting is like a duty, and sometimes it's like lip work, and why sometimes do we not develop a love for chanting? I can only speak for myself.
Yeah, I mean, all of us. I mean, at least for myself too. Yeah, it is the Bhaktivinoda Thakur in one place says that the jiva has been in the material world so long, it's almost become inherent nature just to try to be the enjoyer, to try to be separate from Krishna. It's almost become like that. So the nature of chanting the holy name of the Lord, obviously it's pure by nature, but we don't have so much attraction towards it. I mean, there's the offenses committed in the chanting of the holy name of the Lord, the biggest one being inattention. So, but Srila Rupa Goswami, he says in the Nectar of Instruction that it's like we're diseased with this avidya, this jaundice. So text 8, is it text 7, 6, 8, 7 maybe? Let me see here. Okay. The holy name, character, pastimes, and activities of Krishna are all transcendently sweet like sugar candy. Although the tongue of afflicted by the jaundice of Vidya cannot taste anything sweet, it is wonderful that simply by carefully chanting these sweet names every day, a natural relish awakens within his tongue and his disease is gradually destroyed at the root. So there is a disease, just like when one has jaundice, when you take sugar candy, it tastes very bitter, nasty, is almost you're averse to it. But the more one takes the sugar candy, the more the disease goes away and the more sweet it becomes. So the sweetness of the holy name is always there, like the sugar candy is always sweet. But our ignorance is there. So when we come out of the ignorance, means when we become attentive to the holy name, when we no longer commit these 10 offenses to the holy name, then we can actually start to have real taste. You'll see, if you make it your determination to not be distracted when you're chanting every day for some amount of time, you'll get a great level, you'll develop taste. You start to develop some taste, like, oh, this is nice, and you just do that day in, day out, put your phone away, do whatever it needs to do to stay awake, wash your face, do whatever it needs to be done. But just spend time chanting without any distraction, just sitting down or whatever, walking, whatever it may require, in one session. And if you can do that every day, not all of us can do that, in one session sort of thing, but or like 2 sessions and maybe 2 1-hour sessions, not walking around like these are bad habits we form within devotional service, walking around with beads in our hand while chanting, and then have a little conversation, and then continue chanting, and then have another. And it's with devotees, and you're having a devotional conversation. But it's offensive to the holy name, because you're doing one thing. It's like you're listening to you're chanting the holy name, but then you're doing something else. You're chanting the holy name. You're lifting this, putting it there. You're chanting the holy name. You're going and getting water. It's better to, ideally, if we can, better to cultivate the attitude. If I'm chanting nothing else. If I'm doing something else, I'm putting my beads down and then doing them.
And I've been told that, when you're chanting, you're actually in direct association with Krishna. So if you're inattentive, then you're like...
Yeah, you're calling him and then you're ignoring him. Yeah. So if we're in that position where we don't have so many responsibilities, and it's a very fortunate position sometimes, actually. I mean, in the beginning, when we're new in Krishna consciousness, it's a very fortunate position, because all you have to do is chant, clean, and just go about your day, and it's pretty. And the whole day is set out for you to be able to do all your activities nicely. So when our service allows it, if we can just sit and just chant without being distracted, just put your phone once you've finished all your services. Tell the devotees, if you need me, I'm in the temple room, I'm here. You can come and get me if you need me. My phone is going to be off for a little bit. I need to chant my rounds. If you establish that culture for yourself and within the devotees that you're around, and then that helps a lot. Especially if you just create the consciousness, becoming Krishna consciousness, not to ignore Krishna. Okay, if I have to do this activity, whatever activity it is, if it's outside of chanting, let me put my beads down. Let me finish this round and go attend that, and then once that's done, I'll come back and sit down and continue this concentration on the holy name. So the more attention and the more significance we give to the holy name, the receptibility to be able to experience the sweet nectar of the holy name becomes more, it becomes possible. Whereas if we constantly, here and there, we're like, one day we're chanting well, and then another, and then the next day, and then for the rest of the week, it's not that good, and then one day we chant, it's not going to happen. We have to be consistent. We have to be, nityam bhagavata sevaya. So one has to try to cultivate this attitude. That is an attitude correctional movement. So we have to correct our attitude of being dismissive of Krishna's name. So these are some of the guidelines. I myself would struggle with so many of these things. I'm not some saint that is on a platform of being able to chant the pure name or attentive name. So we're all, at least myself, struggling with it. But I've seen in my life in the past, even now, when I'm attentive and I keep it consistent, it's like life becomes much easier. It's like life does, if devotional service becomes more tasteful. You want to engage in more service. You want to distribute books. You want to make more devotees. You want to do all of these things. Like, this is the symptom of chanting the holy name. Like he was saying, the symptom of hearing from a great person, of becoming purified, is you want to read Prabhupada's books. You want to engage in devotional service. You want to chant the holy name of the Lord. So we'll see that in our life. We'll become enthusiastic if we chant the holy name of the Lord very nicely in devotional service. So we'll become very enthusiastic. So we should give it very great seriousness, not to joke around when you're chanting. Just chant, that's it. Okay.
And then my second question is, you emphasized that it's only due to the mercy that we can even engage in devotional service, and we're even brought to this platform. And I don't know if I'm misquoting or mishearing, but you said we don't have the qualifications to engage in devotional service unless it's been handed to us, right? Okay. So my question is then, what gives the spiritual master his qualification? Is it due to his pious activities, or?
Well, you'll see that devotees like Srila Prabhupada, Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, they're directly coming from the spiritual platform. But still, they show, by the mercy of my spiritual master, only I'm able to do this. You'll see, you'll read. Just a few texts before. He says like this. Fortunately, both our spiritual master, Om Vishnupada, Srimad Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, and our humble self had the opportunity to take birth in such families by the grace of the Lord, and both of us were trained in the devotional service of the Lord from the very beginning of our lives. Later on, we met by the order of the transcendental system. But Prabhupada will see throughout his life, he says, if anything that I've done is by the mercy of my spiritual master. So even the pure devotees on the platform, and they exhibit that, even though it's not like their past activities, or that mercy is there, of course. It's not that we're not denying that, but we're saying that even the pure devotees, when they come straight from the spiritual platform, they show us, they give an example, and they make us understand mercy is only available to the spiritual master. Mercy it's not your doing, it's the mercy of the spiritual master that you're able to act in devotional service. So you'll see like that. Srila Prabhupada, he's directly from the spiritual platform. But he gives, and it is significant, and it is the mercy of his spiritual master. There's no doubt about that. But he's displaying those things for us to also understand how to perform devotional service. Okay. Anything you had the question?
I was just thinking, when she was asking her first question, why the number 16? Why 16 rounds?
Srila Prabhupada just set that standard. He's the Acarya.
The standard?
Yeah. He's the Acarya. He's a great teacher. So he's empowered by Krishna. So he gets to, he knows the heart of Krishna. So this is how to advance in Krishna consciousness. He's given that. And so we accept that. That is the process given. We accept the process that has been given by the teacher. Simple. Yeah. We can, but it's a minimum, understand that. 16 rounds minimum doesn't mean okay, once you chant 16 rounds, that's it. You can chant unlimitedly. 24 hours a day. But that's the minimum for us to, Prabhupada said, 16 rounds and 4 regulative principles, then you're a human being. So it means to come to the human form of life. Okay, you had something?
If you chant 16 rounds, 108 times, it comes out to 1,728. If you do it 81 times, it comes out to 1,296, which is the time for the gold, the silver age. If you chant it 54 times, it comes out to 864, which is similar to the 864,000. If you do it 27 times, it comes out to 432,000. So it's like reducing the amount of time that we call upon the Lord, similar to,
No, that's not it.
no, when you're doing the math.
Sure, but that's not the reason.
9 is the prime number there. All those numbers still come out to 9. And so it's like saying a reference to when they call out the divine name in the golden age, matching that number. And then how we failed from doing that and came down.
That's not given by acharyas like that.
Well, it may not be the chart, but
No, but it's like that's not the. It's not a proper explanation.
well, I'm just giving the explanation as far as the number 9 goes.
Sure, that may be there. There's the system is there in the Vedas. 108 is a very special number that is given, and so therefore there is so many different things that come about by that. But the question she's asking, according to the question she's asking, that's not the answer. So she's asking, why did Prabhupada said that? Because he's Acharya, that's why. He said that because he saw what is needed for this society, and then he wanted to give that. And so,
I understand.
that's all. Okay. All right, anything else? Yes.
I remember that I first heard that Prabhupada requested 64.
Yeah, he did, yeah.
That's a lot.
Yeah, that is practically, in our lives, it's practically impossible.
Most I ever chanted in one day was 32 rounds. So by me chanting 32 rounds, it's very doable.
Yeah.
It's good that we
But you can't, you probably won't be able to maintain your life, huh? You got to go to work and do all of these things. So Srila Prabhupada saw what is practical. And so because he was able to subscribe that, we can't do that. We can't be like, well, now I will chant 8 rounds. Prabhupada said 64 to 16 now. Now I will make that decision. We can't do that. Prabhupada can do that. So Prabhupada's merciful to us to allow that. So he said, okay, Krishna, look, they can't do this, so let them do this. Please accept them. They can do this minimum. Just please accept them. So Krishna says, okay, this is my pure devotee. I love him very much. I accept his standard that he's set. So Krishna accepts the pure devotee's instructions, his establishment. So this is the love that is there between Krishna. It's not a mechanical thing, 16 or this, but it's that love that is there from the pure devotee that establishes that with Krishna. So then he has the authority to do that. We don't have the authority to change that. So yeah, thank you. Yeah, I chanted 64 rounds like once, I think, and that was on a plane because I was stuck inside of a plane for 10 hours. I was like, what else to do? Okay, let me chant. And it was so hard. I was like, oh my God. So, but yeah, it's quite difficult to chant 60. It's like 7-8 hours of chanting. What is it? 64. So if you were to do 16 in 2 hours, so that's like 8 hours. The speed that we run at, it's 8 hours of chanting. What do you? To attend Mangalarti, go through the whole program, and then Bhagavatam class, take breakfast, and chant for 6 more hours after that. We won't be able to perform any service. We'll be tired by the end of it, go back to sleep. And so yeah. Okay, you have one more thing? Okay.
I said that the mind is harder to control than a hurricane.
Yeah.
Part of, I read, some people would chant in the old days, and they would go into the woods or somewhere by themselves and put a line cloth down, because the line cloth would keep away the snakes, and they would chant there, so they wouldn't be distracted. But today's time, part of the chant was Maya,
Yeah, that's awesome. Thank you. Yeah, chanting the holy name of the Lord. Oh Krishna, please, oh energy of Krishna, please engage me in your service. That is the holy name. Okay, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Srimad Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Vancha Kalpatarvescha Kripa Sindhubhyo Vicha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavabhyo Namo Namaha.